Today, I want to do a really important foundational music theory lesson on diatonic chords in minor. I feel like a lot more attention is given by musicians to diatonic chords in major. I feel like they know those pretty well, but minor, it's a bit more mysterious and needs to be examined a little bit more closely. Now, what do I mean when I say diatonic? Well, let's take the C major scale, for example. I'm going to switch over to my major one here. C major is these notes here, and we've all heard the sound. Now, when you take that sequence of notes and make chords entirely from that scale, you have diatonic chords. There's no notes that are not in the scale. So the easiest way to make diatonic chords from this is to just take every other note. So for triads, we get C, E, and G, D, F, A, E, G, B, F, A, C, G, B, D, and so on and so forth. In the major scale, most musicians know that. 1 is major, 2 is minor, moving this way. Yep. 3 is minor, E minor, 4 is major, F major, 5 is major, G major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished triad. Then we're back to 1. And the next way to make diatonic chords would be to take every other note, but for 4 notes. So we'd get, starting right here, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G dominant 7. The only one that gives you that one is that 5, very important. A minor 7, and then a B minor 7 flat 5, not fully diminished. So before we had just the diminished triad, but you can see here it doesn't complete the diminished chord. So it's a minor 7 flat 5, otherwise known as a half diminished. Then down here in these rows, you can see I made other diatonic chords you could build out of it. I'm not going to play all of them here, but you can see here for C major, you could have C major 7, you could have C6, major 6, C major 9, C major add 2, Steely Dan chord, C major 6-9, C sus4, C major 7 sus4. So there's a lot you could do that are all in the diatonic scale of C. But like I said at the beginning, I want to focus on minor. Where do we get the chords in minor from? Minor is a bit more of a mysterious issue than major, which is relatively tangible. Not only is minor kind of the shadow of the major, because the major chord actually rings out of the harmonic series. If you don't know that, I can't get into it here, but every note you play, no matter what, is actually ringing out a major chord first and foremost. So minor is the shadow of that. It already has this more dark, mysterious quality. So which minor scale do we build chords from? Because we have what's called natural minor, we have melodic minor, and we have harmonic minor. So those are all in C. So if you play jazz, you might get a 2-5-1 in C minor. They'll teach you that over that 2-5-1, you play in harmonic minor. So after there's D half diminished to G7 flat 9 to C minor. But they teach you in jazz that when you hit the minor, you resolve to a minor 7. So you don't keep playing in harmonic minor. Anyway, I'm not sure that's right either. So which of these scales do I choose? I'm going to do the one that gives us a dominant chord, and that's harmonic minor. But harmonic minor has a unique sound, and I want musicians to understand the diatonic chords that we can build just off of C harmonic minor. So here's the scale right here. If you don't know it, it's C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B, then C. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the major, and let's build triads, and then we'll build a 4-note chord. So going across from here are the triads. If we take every other note, we get C minor. And if we just take every other note for 3 notes, for D, we get diminished triad. We've seen that before, remember? If we just take every other note of this for 3, we get E flat augmented. That's weird. I think most people did not know that. So once again, C minor, D diminished triad, E flat augmented, then you get F minor, 5 is G major, A flat major, and B diminished triad. Then if we take 4-note chords, things get more interesting, and these are the chords I think people really should know. So the first degree, you get the ultimate espionage chord. It's called a minor major 7. Mr. Bungle used this chord a lot, as well as film composers like Bernard Herrmann and people like that. So there's a C minor. They called a minor with a major 7 because we just took every other note of this scale, right? And we built the mysterious espionage chord, C minor major 7. Now we'll go to the second degree, D, and take every other note, and we get a minor 7 flat 5 going across this way here. So minor 7, D minor 7 flat 5, otherwise known as half diminished. Now we get what's called a major 7 with a sharp 5. This is pretty interesting. So you have major 7, E flat, but instead of a regular 5, you have a sharp 5, which is in that harmonic minor scale. Then F, you actually get a minor 7. That's pretty weird. You get a totally normal minor chord in the middle of this whole thing, so on 4. So remember, the first scale degree was this. But if we go to 4, it's a regular minor 7. That's just C minor major 7 to F minor 7. So finally, here's the most important thing, and this is the reason why I think we should use harmonic minor scale to build our chords from, is it has a dominant 7 where we want it, on the 5th degree, just like the major scale does. So it has a G7 for us there. And then from A flat, we actually get a major 7, and then finally you get a fully diminished 7, whereas on the major scale, remember, it gave us a half diminished. This gives us a fully diminished for B diminished 7. That's the difference between a fully diminished chord, you call it diminished 7, versus just a triad, which has 3 notes. Then you can see everything above this black line is other chords you could build from those scale degrees purely diatonically, in other words, just off these notes. So what if I go here? I go C minor major 7 like we did. Now C minor major 9, that means a 7 also, because it didn't say add 9. So if it said minor major 9, it's a minor major 7 chord with a 9 also, but you could tuck it down here if you want. That's an extension of that espionage chord. It adds even more color. You could do it this way too. Great horn voicing. Anyway, you could also do a minor add 11. That's a minor add 11. You could do minor add 9. Love this chord. So instead of like jazz, they're always giving you a minor 7 chord. Forget about the 7 and just add a 9. And you could tuck it up there, or you could take it down here for a closer voicing. But listen how much less jazzy that sounds than this. Because jazz always wants to add that 7, but let's just keep it. As you can see, there's a bunch of other chords you can make just simply from this. But when you're dealing with minor, you have to take more than just diatonic into account. That's why I have everything below the black line. One of the biggest notes that also influences the scale is that B flat that would be in a natural minor scale. So you have to go back and kind of reconsider some of these chords as having a possibility of having a B flat instead of a B. So if you go below this black line, you see that would give us C minor 7, which is much less tense than that C minor major 7 espionage chord, which might not meant to be, a real key center. So you have a minor 7, you have a minor 9, minor 6, minor 6, 9. Those are all notes that might not be fully in this diatonic scale, but they need to be understood. From the D, you could also have a dominant 7. It's like a 2 dominant. Every 1, 2 dominant, 5, 1. 3, since it's a relative major minor, the relative major of C minor is E flat. You have to imagine that B flat, just like I said, you could, make more of a normal chord change instead of this, which it would be if it was diatonic, because E flat augmented. And then everything that comes along with that. You have a major 7, major 9, E flat 6. There's a bunch of cool ones from F. That's, you can have F minor 7, F minor 9, F minor 6 is fully diatonic, F minor 6, 9. Very cool chord, because this is F minor, here's 6, here's 9. And then you can also have an F minor 7 flat 5 fully diatonically. So in this one we had C, and then we had a D minor 7 flat 5, and we also have an F minor 7 flat 5. D minor 7 flat 5, F minor 7. Pretty cool. Then G, we have obviously the dominant. You could also do a dominant 7 flat 9. You could also do dominant 7 sharp 5 flat 9. You could also do dominant 7 sus 4. And the 6th degree is probably the most interesting scale degree. We come to A flat. Isn't it weird that it's the mysterious note of minor that yields us the most interesting chords? This note. This note. This. We all know that role that note plays in music. I want to get like real new agey and say it's got a real lunar energy. So anyway, when we get to that 6th scale degree, this is almost miraculous, and I haven't seen a lot of musicians cover this. So the diatonic chord we get from taking every other note is A flat. So we were in C, right? A flat, this. If we take it up the next and take one more note, we get A flat major 7. But look, B and C. We can make this major or minor diatonically, and that gives us black metal. So instead of going C to A flat major, we could diatonically take A flat minor. That sounds like this. Black metal chord change, or you could change the bass note and make it B instead, but it's still. So not only can you make it an A flat major or minor, you can make it a minor major 7 diatonically. So that means this has 2 minor major 7 chords. We had C, our first chord, to A flat minor major 7. That's all diatonic. We also could do minor 6 We couldn't even do a minor 6 from C in this, right? Because there's no A in this harmonic minor. But from A flat, we can do a minor 6, and from 4 we can do a minor 6. What would that sound like if we went 1 to 4 minor 6 to 6 minor 6, then back to 1? Sounds pretty Kurt Weill, doesn't it? Not only can we do a minor 6, we can do a major 7 with a flat 5. So A flat major 7, back to C minor. And the B doesn't really have much else to offer us, unless we want to go below this black line and start adding in notes that aren't really in here just to justify, some other chromatic passing chords. But anyway, please come join me on High Castle Conservatory, where we go over all this kind of stuff. And I think this lesson is super important, and I'll probably go back and do a less off-the-cuff, more detailed version, because this stuff is really important for musicians to know. Thanks a lot for watching this video and taking an interest in my channel. Please help me reach a larger audience by hitting subscribe below and ringing the notification bell. Check out my video playlist page to find the categories that most interest you. Leave me a super thanks here on YouTube, and even better, come join my Patreon. Please consider buying music for my original projects ISS and High Castle Teleorkestra. Also, don't forget to sign up for my email list on the front page of timsmolens.com. You can find information about all of those things in the description below. Thanks again.